Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Mission Matters. My name is Adam Torres, and I am at the Texas FFA Convention in Houston, Texas. And my guest today is Dr. Brian Reed. Brian, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
All right, Brian. So a lot of fun at convention this year. How you doing, man?
Absolutely great. I got a new set of kids.
Yeah.
I've changed schools. And we were in a position where they weren't even ready to come to state convention. That school hasn't actually come to state convention in several years. So I've got a group of mostly senior boys that have never come to state convention, and they're just...
It's their first year.
Their first and only chance. That's when I spoke to them about going, and they were like, yeah, I don't know. I was like, this is probably going to be your only chance to get to go.
Wow.
And they were like, okay, we'll go.
How are they doing? Are they?
They're thrilled. They're worn out. Absolutely.
Are they amazed? I can't imagine being that age, coming here and just like wide-eyed.
Yeah, that's exactly how they are. I told them, I was like, get ready, because that first session's like a rock and roll show. After that first session, I was like, was it everything I said? And they were like, absolutely. They're like, my ears are ringing.
So let's go back a bit here. How did you originally learn about or get introduced to FFA?
I grew up in Missouri on a cattle operation. I would be the third generation on the same piece of property. My grandfather purchased that land. There's a piece of the farm that actually was purchased by my great-grandparents. So agriculture has been in my family for basically every generation since we came over from England. I've done a lot of genealogy research, and everybody all the way back has been agriculture.
Wow.
So I'm very tied to the land. I'm very tied to the production side of ag. I had a good FFA experience growing up in high school, and led to staying in agriculture. That's where I want to be. That's my home base. That's my livelihood. It's where my heart is.
Yeah. So as faculty and just being involved with the organization as a whole, like what keeps you coming back? Like what keeps that fire going?
It's got to be the kids. I heard somebody say the other day, the kids don't change, but we get older. and I think that's true, but yet
I didn't think about that. You're right, especially if you take the convention setting specifically, because it's the same age group.
Yeah.
So, 10, 20 years I come back, they'll be the same age. There'll be a new crop, of course, kids, and some of the young members that were maybe even on this show, when they come back, they're going to be the old dogs one day. Like, man, I talked to you when I was in that 10, 15 years ago.
Absolutely.
And then at that point, I'm like, oh, man, I knew this was going to happen.
Absolutely. And but I have always said the kids keep me young.
Yeah.
Listening to their crazy teenage drama, and I'm sitting back laughing and going, yeah, I did that back in the day. I remember how dumb I felt after it was all over with. And just to experience those teenage years, year after year, helping those kids grow, but living more or less off of their excitement, that keeps me coming back. I wanted to stay. Some of the kids were like, when will you retire? And I said, probably when they haul my dead body out of the classroom.
That's what I said. I mine was in the classroom, but they're like, am I ever going to, I'm like, when am I never going to want to be energized and be able to connect with people? Like, I'm not, as long as my body's working, I'm in,
That's absolutely right.
Yeah.
That's absolutely right.
What's been your favorite part about convention this year? Like any specific moment?
Well, having a hurricane roll in was a new thing.
I said your favorite. Nah, I didn't say memorable.
Well, that's memorable.
I didn't say memorable. I said favorite. No, memorable works too. Share that story. I don't know if you remember when we had a side conversation. There was another student. Oh no, you weren't for this one. I was having a conversation with a student. They were telling me about their hotel didn't have electricity and this and that and all these other things. But you know what was interesting? Unlike myself, who would have been complaining, I'll pick on me. They were loving it. She was like, it's like camping. We were camping. It was hot. And then I finally, we would take a cold shower. And it was like, we were camping outside.
Yeah. The boys went through it all. We were in an Airbnb, and that house didn't have electricity for 2 days.
Oh, my gosh.
There was no damage to the house, so everything was fine other than it being stuffy. But, as soon as the eye had passed, they were like, can we go drive around? We want to see what's been going on. We want to see the damage.
Yeah.
It's like, y'all, we live in West Texas. We've been in 100-mile-an-hour sandstorms before. And they're like, yeah, but this was a hurricane.
And there were trees all over the place, all kinds of things going on.
Absolutely.
God just showing his presence. Like, we make plans, but hey, there's other ones too.
Yeah. And and the good thing about the boys, we'd come to a spot where, there'd be branches down. They'd hop out of the truck, pick it up, set it off on the side, so make the street passable.
Yeah.
So, but that's the tenacity of, the Texas FFA membership. We don't see problems, we see challenges.
Yeah. And that's a good point you make. Like, think about how, when I think about what FFA brings, the type of individuals, the leadership, the legacy of leadership. So, like, for example, in that particular instance, there were all senior boys, as you mentioned, that were there. But let's just say somebody saw them do that. They're picking up tree and they're saying, like, oh, this is something to do. Like, we take care of things. We do this. And that culture, it permeates. So now the younger, not that exact example, but the younger just getting involved, see what some of the older leaders are doing, and it builds and it builds. Now you go into the workforce, that builds.
Yes, that's it. That's exactly right. We really pride ourselves on the concept of being hands-on, and there's certainly a major portion of agriculture education and FFA that is that, but more than that, we're problem solvers.
Yeah.
And the kids are developing solutions. And that's one of the things, even in the classroom I teach. If you're going to bring me a problem, you bring me a solution. Especially when we're building, metal projects in the shop.
Yep.
And you want to come and tell me, okay, well, this doesn't fit, or okay, well, what's your solution? Tell me what you think. How are we going to fix this before I tell you what I think? I want you to have thought about it, because I don't want you to be a robot. I want you to be a thinker and start to figure out those problems and solve those problems on your own, because sometimes that's all you're going to have is your own thoughts and how to fix that problem.
Yeah. How have you seen that Texas FFA people and the members that go through this program, how do you think that prepares them for the workforce going forward?
They're really prepared. I hear from former students all the time. I have a young man that he's probably early 20s now.
Yeah.
One of my better welders at a previous school, probably the best welder at that previous school. And he called me one time and said, Doc, I just wanted you to know I got this big pay raise. He works in the oil field. And I said, well, how'd you do that? And he said that his boss was wanting to build something. And he said, okay, how about this? And he took out a piece of paper and a pencil and sketched it out with measurements and everything else. And his boss said, where did you learn to do that? He said, in my high school ag class.
Stop.
Yes. And right then and there, because he's working in the oil field as a welder, he got $10 an hour raise right then.
What? That's absolutely amazing.
Because he had that skill. And, you hear that. I have a former student from early in my teaching career. He's been in Washington, D.C. He's the clerk for the House Agricultural Committee and has been for years. Tremendous individual. Did livestock judging through high school, was awesome in that. Got scholarships to go judge at a junior college, and then at senior college, went in and won the National Western Stock Show's livestock judging contest in Denver, which is probably the granddaddy of them all.
Yeah.
And through all of those experiences, then at the time, K. Bailey Hutchison snatched him up after he graduated and hauled him to Washington, D.C., and he's been there ever since. But that all started in a high school ag classroom.
How amazing is that for you to go on and see your students go out and do great things? Like, how does that feel? I've never been a teacher, so I don't know that. Like, how does that feel?
It's one of probably the most fulfilling things. I've told
It's amazing.
I've told young teachers before, this isn't just a job.
Yeah.
It's a missionary field.
Calling.
It's a calling. And if you don't feel that, then you need to find something else to do.
Yeah.
Because this is not where you're meant to be. If you don't see it as a calling and find joy in every time the kid just has that aha moment, even in the classroom, forget the banners. The banners are icing on the cake. It's when the kids go, I understand. It clicks. And it clicks. That's what we're really here for.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see it. And then for them to be so appreciative.
Yes,
like absolutely. I can think about like in my history in my life, like some of the things I do, and even especially in college, like some of the teachers that helped me out there, I was behind, and they they drugged me through college and made sure, and they upskilled me. They saw I was trying, and they invested in me, and I thank them for that.
Absolutely. Yeah, they they learn to give back. So as much as they learn, they're like, okay, then we need to communicate this.
Yeah.
We now know this. We need to help others. And just for everybody to grow.
Absolutely.
So.
Well, Brian, I have to say, I really appreciate you taking some time out of the convention to sit down and have a chat, as always. And to the audience, as always, thank you for tuning in. If this is your first time with Mission Matters and you're tuning in for the first time and you haven't hit that subscribe or follow button, make sure you hit that button, because this is a daily show. Each and every day, we're bringing you new entrepreneurs, new executives, new visionaries, new thought leaders, and new content to help you along in your journey and hopefully to inspire you to do great things. So, again, hit that subscribe or that follow button. And Brian, as always, man, really appreciate it. Great catching up.
Appreciate it.
All right.